putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody. There's a new name out there. His name is Stephon Clark. Get used to it. But it's not, he'd like to be remembered with the likes of Michael Brown Jr. and Alton Sterling and Philando Castile and many others. Young blacks killed by police, hunted down, etc., right? And I'm just telling you right now, what a difference a time makes, what a difference the leadership makes in this country. I want you to flash back 9 years or so under Barack Obama, the era of Obama, and what the police officers had to deal with. I want you to flash back to that. I want you to flash back to that moment where Gates tried to get into his own home and he's confronted by a police officer who happened to be white, a man doing his job because a neighborhood watch said, hey, we just saw somebody go through the window of Professor Gates' home. That's what neighbors are supposed to do. And then police shows up, white guy, says, hey, listen, somebody saw somebody entering this home through the window. I need to make sure everybody's okay. I want you to think about everything that could have, the possibilities. Maybe somebody broke in and was accosting Professor Gates. Or maybe it was somebody breaking into the house. Or it could be as innocent as Professor Gates getting into his own home because he left his keys. It could be any of those scenarios. But in any of those scenarios, the police has a responsibility to find out what's going on. He gets confronted by smart aleck intelligentsia Professor Gates, friend of Barack Obama, who says, I don't need to show you anything, white boy. This is my house. And the cop says, look, it's not about white, black. It's not about all the different things you've got. I'm not trying to oppress you, black man. He says, I need to see your ID to make sure you who you say you are. Make sure everything's cool. You're not under duress. There's not somebody standing behind a door making you say this, et cetera, et cetera. Can you understand the scenario that I'm putting before you on the Kevin Jackson Show? Glad you guys are here, by the way. 844-551-8255 if you want to call me. KJRadio.com if you want to contact us otherwise. So everybody's done their part up to this particular part of the scenario except Professor Gates, who then says, do you know I know the President of the United States? I'm a bad man, jamma, baby, don't you do and he goes all gorilla, gangster jungle on this dude. And the white dude's like, look, man, I'm going to put these bracelets on you and we're going to take you down to the station and blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history. Barack Obama says the cop, acted stupidly by doing his job. See, that's how the left views things. They see when people do their jobs, that's being stupid. How could you possibly go there and do your job, cop? I talked earlier about Alton Sterling. People want to make a big deal. He was killed. Another black man was killed. Oh my God, oh my God. Eric Garner, remember him in New York? The dude selling whatever they call him when you sell cigarettes singularly out of the package. Singies, or I don't know what they call them, but they got a name for him. He doesn't want to go to jail because he's elite. He's violating New York laws. These aren't laws set up by Donald Trump. These aren't laws set up by conservatives. The people who run New York are a bunch of left-wing, leftist, lunatic liberals. I know I said leftist twice, but that's okay. Deal with it. And instead of surrendering and saying, here you go, he decides he's going to fight. By the way, black female cop right there and has a heart attack. And the cop just killed her. They killed him. He had his hands up and said, don't choke me. Don't do this. His big fat butt died because he's out of shape. And the pressure that was put on his 300+ pound body put onto his chest didn't allow him to breathe because it wasn't the cops that killed him. He killed himself because all he had to do was stick his hands out and say, let me go get my punishment. But he didn't do that. But man, they want a payday. And I could go down the line. Philando Castile was told multiple times, he says, I got a gun. And the cop says, don't reach for it. Don't. Oh, sorry. Got a little musical for you. Anyway, he ends up shooting the dude and his girlfriend's like, they just killed him. And it's all on video. All on video. Now, what about this clown, Stephon Clark? Oh, Kevin, there you go, man. You don't like black folks, man. You ain't. Look, let me tell you something. I don't care whose situation this is. It could be black, white. It could be Henry Chang that I'm talking about. Here's what Stephon Clark was doing. Stephon Clark was in his own neighborhood where I guess he lived with his grandma. And Stephon Clark is he's vandalizing. He's breaking into people's property. You ever seen, I've lived in the hood. There are times when I lived in St. Louis, there'd be dozens of cars with their windows smashed. Dozens. You know who did it? The Stephon Clarks of the world. I'm using my finger quotes. You know who did it. Black teens, nothing better to do, out there looking to make a cheap buck, causing you $300 worth of damage so they can get $1.35 out of your change tray in your car, or steal your radar detector, or steal your, whatever you may have in there. And because people in the cities know, don't keep anything of value in your car. So that's what these clowns did. They came there. That's what this clown did, Stephon Clark. He's breaking into things. He's vandalizing. Who knows what's next? Maybe it starts innocently as a car. Then it's just, I'll go into this shed. And then next thing he's in your house, and next thing he's killing people. I don't know what the escalation point is, but I know this. I don't want you in my car. I don't want you in my yard. I don't want you in my house. So somebody sees it. It wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't the right-wing conspiracy. It was somebody from the neighborhood who said there's a young black dude who's out here causing trouble. And you can bet in Sacramento that call happened a lot in various neighborhoods. So the cops show up, and there's a helicopter. This is let me tell you something. I had to dig to find this story. All I've heard about is black man got killed by the police officers, and all the disruption therein has been caused. Now, I've talked about this earlier when I was talking about Sterling. The fact of the matter is there hasn't been a whole lot of protesting, has there? You've seen a very different world than you would have seen under Barack Obama. See, because cities got to burn when black thugs get killed, or when verdicts are rendered that don't allow the cops to go down when a black man gets himself killed. Okay? But you haven't seen that happen. Little bit of disruption in Sacramento because people want to make money now off of people being killed. Families see it as, man, we can get rid of the bad guys and make some money. Let's do this. So long story short, Stephon Clark, they got a helicopter above, because this is not exactly Beverly Hills. And they're shining the light down on this dude as they've got him. They've got him dead to rights. So the helicopter's up. There he is. He's about to make a left on Crenshaw, and he's on 13th Street. And they're watching him do his deal. And the police have arrived, and they're now going after this guy. So he's running, dipping and dodging. Have you seen Dodgeball? Dive, dodge, dip and dodge. Anyway, he's dipping and diving and whatever else. And finally, the cops see him. He runs around the corner. Okay. Then he decides to give himself up. He emerges from around the corner, and he's got his hand sticking straight out with his cell phone. Not up. Okay. Sticking out. Now, let me tell you who told me this story, because I was digging around going, what did this guy do? I got asked about Stephon Clark, and I was like, oh, who is that? What's this? Another cop shooting? And it was a cop, a black cop, who told me what happened. He says, Kevin, he doesn't have his hands up. He's got his hand sticking straight out with that cell phone. And he says, now he's already run from the cops, and they've yelled, stop, whatever. Comes back around the corner with his hand sticking out with this cell phone, not up, but out. And they blasted him. Now, everybody, I heard the interview. Yeah, I didn't have to shoot that boy 20 times. Let me tell you something. Put yourself in a cop's circumstance. You want to go home. You're chasing a guy. He's a vandal. You don't know anything about it, but he took off running. When he took off running and came back around that corner, he was dead man walking. Period. The only thing he could have done would have been to lay down and say, officers, I am on the ground, and start yelling. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to tell the dude what to do, but that's what I would have done, because the minute you come back out, you have to be letting them know, I'm not armed. I have a cell phone. It's almost like these guys want to be killed. It's almost like they want it. So these cops didn't go hunting for Stephon Clark. Not to mention, hey, black people that are, because all these people are in an uproar in Sacramento. His brother making a scene, at the city council or whatever, and everybody, Becerra saying, I'm going to look into this. What's to look into? You know what you ought to look into? The vandalism that's occurring in black communities by guys like Stephon Clark that lead to their deaths. How about you look into that? They don't want to do that because they need somebody to blame. They want America to feel at fault here.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.